how to reharm. In order to understand what is reharm, we need to understand what is. Now, without being too harmful, what we're trying to do is basically get from point A to point B. So imagine that we're in the key of C and we want to get to C. Now C can be Paris, but again, if I'm in New York right now and I want to try and get to Paris, there are definitely quite a few routes to get to that location. So maybe I want to stop in Japan or Egypt before. So my routing can be unconventional, and that will give a lot of tension and the release will be stronger. So basically, when we're reharming a song or a melody, we're trying to get from point A to point B in slightly different routing. What we're going to do right now is take Mary Had a Little Lamb, the notorious song, and we're going to reharm it a few times. So I did 4 reharms, starting from a very simple basic idea of matching the chord to the melody and then going quite extreme. So hang on tight to the last one and check it out. There's also a PDF in the video description so you can download what I did, and there's also 4 blank options. So these are for you guys to mess around and explore Mary Had a Little. So our first goal right now is to match the melody to the chord so it sounds right. Option 1. In the next few weeks, I'll create more content like this. So if you're feeling this, please like, please share, please subscribe, and maybe turn the bell notifications on. Thank you. Okay, so let's examine what's happening with option 1. So the melody and the chords are very, very connected, right? So the melody is really articulating the chords and the chords are embellishing the melody. So it's a very strong link between those two. Now, as you can see, the melody is mi, re, do, re, mi, mi, mi. So it's or E, D, C. You can think solfege or letters, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that we can see that the notes and the chords are very connected to each other. So in order to understand what's going on here, let's double check that we know the degrees in C major. Here we go. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and again C major. Now, what I'm doing right now, I'm really harmonizing this progression, this song, with all diatonic degrees. So I'm really only using those 7 options within the key. Check it out. So in the melody is right, and then I'm looking at C. So I only have a few chords that contains the note C. Of course, C is one of them. In this case, again, the song is very diatonic. We're in the key of C major, so I'm trying to establish the tonality in a clear way. So it's not a bad idea to start with the chord C major. Again, it depends on the song and the sound of the song, but in this case, it's pretty obvious. So you can see logically I'm using C major. E is one of the notes within C major. The notes in C major is C, E, and G. 1 3 5. If it's not super clear to you which note goes with what chord and how it works, please drop a comment. As you can see, the melody is really outlining the chord in this case. E, D, C, D. This is the melody. I'm getting a little 9 there. Then I'm going to A minor, second bar. Again, I'm choosing A minor because I want some harmonic change. Of course, I can still stay in C major for a couple of bars. And then G, that would be maybe an even more simplistic version. So it's C major for 2 bars, G major for 2 bars. But I want some changes. I want some chords and some movement. So going from C to A minor, I have E in the top. E is a part of A minor, so it's very simple. Again, there are only a few chords that contains the note E, which is C major, E minor, and A minor. So I chose A minor because I like this motion 1-6, kind of a classic motion. And then D minor, there you have it. You see the melodies on the top note here. So the chord is E minor, the melody is D minor, pretty simple. And then I'm going to G. G to 5. So I have a 1-6-2-5 actually, right? Jazz people. So right? And with the G major, although it's G major, the first note of the melody is E, and that's basically the 13. I have E on the top note of the G, so I'm getting the 13 basically, but it's a very, very classic sound. And it's it's the end of the phrase as well. When I'm saying a phrase, I mean those 4-bar end there, as you can see. With music, it's very symmetrical, so the motion oftentimes will happen after 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars. So these symmetrical forms are very important to be aware of. So as you can see, the phrase kind of ends there, and then the melody starts again, getting to that tension point, this G, and then the tension is being resolved back to C. Second line is also pretty simple. I'm just doing the same thing. A minor back to D minor, and then G7 or G major there for half a bar to resolve to the tonic, and then as you can see, all the notes are really being articulated by the chords. Okay, let's look at the second version. Second version. Still simple, but I changed a little bit, right? Still very simple, still very diatonic, and I'm not using any crazy devices that we'll talk about ASAP in the next example. So as you can see, I'm just really harmonizing the melody with the chords, but then again, instead of going to A minor on the second bar, I'm going to E minor, so it gives it just a little different taste instead of the first option, 1/6, or sound of E minor. It's a beautiful, beautiful sound. And then going to the D minor again. The D minor also feels a little different because of that E minor. You can see on bar 4, instead of going to the G major to create more tension, I resolve there. So then the second repetition of the melody, I'm going to a different chord. Instead of C, I'm going to A minor. So then I'm doing the same thing with the E minor, then without any G major. So I'm using basically the same ideas, but just messing around a little bit with the chords and moving it around. The rule of thumb is that I'm not using the same chord for 2 bars. Now let's go a little further and check this out. This is the third example. Alright, so what's happening here? How did I get to this one? So the first thing I did, I started adding 7. So all my chords have 7s. So C major 7 instead of C. Just adding the 7. Super simple, right? Now instead of A minor, at the first example, I'm going to A7. So A7 is basically what we call secondary dominant. So the whole point of secondary dominant is that we're reinforcing one of the degrees in the scale. In this case, I'm going to D minor at bar 3. So I'm basically preparing us to go there, and I'm creating more tension by using that C sharp, right? C sharp, talking about a note within A7. So this note is basically leading us to that chord D minor. So what's happening in the first 3 bars is basically 1, 5 of 2, that's the secondary dominant, going to the D minor. So check this out. And I'm doing this A over C sharp, and all I wanted to do is to create a little more bass motion. So you see, these little things, although I'm not changing the harmony, a little bit of bass motion really helps bring things alive. So check it out. Right, just a little motion, and then the same thing here. I'm just taking the D minor and doing kind of descending little bass line between the 1 major 7 to the 7. So really nothing is happening. I'm just playing D minor 7 in reality, and then G7, and then second phrase here. Out here you see the C7. So again, the C7 should not be there, right? Because C7 is not in the key of C. But my target point again is F for the next bar, and I'm going to use that note E instead of using it within the chord as a part of the tri, the 1 3 5. I'm using it. I'm taking this as a tension, or basically this is going to be the major 7. So it's still within the chord, it's just not the 1 3 5. So it's a little bit further away. Next bar here you see I'm playing C, but not exactly. I'm playing C7. Why C7? The same trick. I'm using a secondary dominant. So C7 within the key of C major is the 5 of 4. So I'm going to the 4. The 4 is 1 2 3 4, C D E F. going to F major. Next bar, as you can see, I'm hitting F major. So check it out. Right? So why did I do this? Again, the same idea. I just want a little bit of motion. I could have just stayed this bar, the full thing, just to stay on F major 7, 9, all the same. But I could just stay there. But what I did is I just had the bass kind of descending. So, right? So, just a little motion, and that's exciting to me. So I did that. So, and then after I'm at the 4, instead of going to the 5 chord or something like that, I'm going to the 4 minor here, which again, the 4 minor is a very monumental chord. It's a beautiful, beautiful sound. This chord is borrowed from the C minor key tonality, actually. So it's a little out of the key, but it's being used a ton in all styles of music. So, right, and then this whole bar is F minor 6. I just wrote this here, F minor major, so you see this E natural clearly. It's just for a brief second, even more tension, and then resolving to C. But again, doing a little trick, playing the flat 2 as a surprise, and then resolving. So again, I'm starting to use more tricks, more harmonic tricks, and the idea is basically suspending some of the tension, creating more tension, and then going to an unexpected place before we really get to our destination. Think about it as A to B. Our target is C major, but then again, before we're stopping in Paris, we're stopping by India, and then Japan, and then saying hi New York, and then eventually getting to Paris. Option number 4. So what's happening here? So basically I'm creating more tension by starting on a secondary dominant. So I'm starting with D7. Not only D7, I'm playing D7 9, right? So I'm using the melody as the extension. So the first example, we had the melody within the triad. So really the melody was articulating the chord itself, the 1, 3, or 5. And then on the third example, we already had the melody maybe on the major 7, like on the F. And here, what's happening here, it's already in an extension, right? So it's already on the 9. The melody's on the 9. And then I'm going to G7. So I'm basically doing a 2, 5. And then I'm changing that G7, 9, 13. Just some tension. I'm changing it to flat 9, which is beautiful, beautiful sound. And then I'm going to this D minor thing. Again, just descending with this kind of motion, bass motion, but it's really not important. It's just D minor. And then going again to G7. So basically I'm doing a 2, 5 to C major. And then I'm playing this G diminished, which is the 7th degree of A flat, which is like the secondary dominant. It's like playing 5 off, but it's the 7th off. So in this case, I'm leading us to A flat. Why A flat? Because it's the flat 6 and it's a beautiful sound, and the melody there is G, so I'm using the note G to be the 7th of that chord. A flat is not in the key of C at all, so this is like kind of like a little splash of color. It's a borrowed chord from C minor. Cool, so we got to A flat, and then I'm heading back home, kind of just going back to C major 5 first inversion, so G major over B, and then going to a little trick. So I'm continuing this bass motion, but now I'm doing 5 of 4 like we did before on the example we did here. So the same idea, I'm just using the C7 in an inversion. So this is third inversion, the B flat is in the bass, leading us to the 4 chord, and then 4 minor here a little bit before we did it later. 4, 4 minor, first inversion, a little tension, and then I'm playing G sus. Basically people call it K6-4 in classical music. It's a cadence chord. We're preparing to the 5, but I'm extending the tension a little bit by going to A flat, 7 flat 5, and then D flat, and then only then getting to the G, and then resolving. So why did I do that? Basically, it's just a little color. It's nothing much. I'm basically playing G as far as I'm concerned. This is like a tension point. I can play a lot of things on that, depends on the melody and what I want. But what I'm doing here is like, here's a little bass motion. So with the colors, and then soloing. So again, as you can see, it's nothing crazy, but it's a craft that we need to work on. How can we get better at doing that on the spot? So again, I would start very simple. I would take songs like this one, and you can really take that PDF and just write your examples. It's blank so you can fill it in. Or you can take other songs, take Somewhere Over the Rainbow, take holiday songs, children's songs that are very simple and very diatonic. First write the melody in a very clear way, and then write the chords on top and see what works, and then start doing adjustment and see what you can find. Start using devices like secondary dominant, and if that subject is not clear, I actually made a little video about secondary dominance you can check out. We get good at what we do. If you want to get good at running, you should run. If you want to get good at reharm, you should start reharm. The first step is really writing these things down and messing around within the key of C, and then starting to play them as well on the guitar, on the instrument, and then later on in jazz context it's the same idea. We're trying to get from D minor to G7 to C major 7, so it's the same thing. Our target is C major 7. What do we use? How do we get there? The path can be very different, but we still get to our destination. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time. Please like, please share, please subscribe. And if you think someone needs this Mary Had a Little Lamb video, please share it with him so he can get his lamb too. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.